go over it, but before we do, how come you were not, I think Arsenal was involved in it. Is there a reason why you were not involved, Ben, in BMNR?
In BMNR? Yeah, I don't understand this whole filing stuff. I just know that they had a filing with an ATM, but I had no idea that they're gonna use it immediately.
I wasn't in it. I played it the day before it had the big drop. They kind of faked the drop and then they just didn't drop it the same way, and I just kind of got faked out on it.
On the day that it had a big drop, or the day before? Or why didn't you touch it? Why didn't you touch it on the day that they announced the ATM?
Because it just all happened so fast. Because I remember they were kind of holding it up near 120s, and I was reading JJ's analysis, but I wasn't convinced that because it broke the previous high from the day before that it couldn't break, and I thought it was gonna just break out, and then it immediately opened. I think it dumped like $12 or $10, and I just didn't chase it, which I should have in hindsight. But I think INKT will be a similar opportunity, I think. So I'm just trying to focus on what I can hit coming up. There's so much going on.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good question, actually. How much can you chase? How many points not? This might be useful. What I personally do is like if you know the ATM, and I guess it depends on how much they use it, but the tape is confirmation. Very often in big caps and some of these things, they're not able to dump the ATM or dump the dilution in one day. On average, they're about 10% of the volume, and you can kind of reverse engineer your way back into determining if that's the percent. So the long story short of it would be, what we should have done, or anybody that didn't take it or had that fear, like how much more range can I have, how long will this last for, is do 2 billion ATM, divide by the current VWAP price, and then you could get the average. Like it's gonna take, and then multiply it by 10. So I think I talked about it. This is how we shorted Tesla quite a few times when Elon announced that he was gonna get in Twitter. He made a poll, and he's like, "Should I sell
Sorry,
this?"
you cut off. Sorry to interrupt. You cut off for a sec. You were saying you should have done, and then you just cut off for me. What did you say after that?
What we should have done, or if we were concerned that, hey, is it gonna have a more move or is it gonna have a bigger range, is try to see in our head how much volume do they need to be able to finish the ATM. So a good example, let's say, did it happen on the 9th or the 9th, right? Yeah, the 9th. So the
Yeah.
9th, let's say the high was 126, 125. So you would do 2 billion divided by, let's say the average selling price VWAP at the end of the day, hypothetically at that point was like 120. So it needs 16.6 million shares. That's how many shares it's potentially gonna dump. Up and down, if VWAP is at 80, whatever it reduces. But then you multiply this by 10 because they can be 10% of the volume. So that means 166 million, unless my math is wrong. Did I do this correctly? Yeah, 2 billion, 120. I'd probably use the 120 is not the best accurate number. But no, it seems right. So they need about 160 million shares of volume traded. So how long will it take them to get rid of? Let me see where the view up is at actually on that day. So that day, 90. Yeah, so basically, you could reverse engineer and figure out that it would take them like 1 week or week and a half to dump all of that shares. And sometimes if it's a smaller amount, things like that would happen. I think something similar is going to happen in IONQ, but I'm very biased on it because I've just been short. I covered some of it on Friday's dip because it's above the moving averages.
So you say they can have a filing similar to BMNR and then we get a similar fate?
The I the connection, in my opinion, is not the similar filing. It's somebody needs to dump the shares. As traders, our goal is to anticipate range. You can use dilution in your favor to determine what the range is going to be. So IONQ, if I'm not mistaken, they bought $3 billion worth of companies, and I believe those share like once the deal gets closed, those companies get the shares. And when they get the shares and they get registered, like they bought them at a certain price, right? So that instead of they don't give them cash, they give them their shares. If you've seen, the company is worthless. So as soon as they get the shares, if the company that was purchased, they're like, hey, I'm trying to retire, IONQ may not be worth anything, so I'm just going to dump it. So you could reverse engineer that and kind of figure out how long of a period will it take to dump. Because sometimes you could have an offering, it's always the ratio. Whenever I've tried to understand dilution, I always visualize the lady that has her eyes closed and she has the thing in here. She weighs it out. Volume is demand, and the other one is supply. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if IONQ happens, I don't know if they might be hedged a bit, but if it's like 3 billion shares, and then you take a look at how much. Actually, that's a good example. Let's do that. You guys want to do that, and then we'll start. And also think about best opportunities down the line too, guys. Let's say I am pulling up IONQ's price right now. I'm gonna hide my password so Martin doesn't take my Thinkorswim account. I may be wrong, but when I was researching, I think, and they bought like 4, 5, 6 companies, three to six, but I think it might have totaled to $3 billion, or it's pretty close to that. So the way to determine that is like, it will depend on what price they got and what's the lockup period, if any, blah, blah, blah. But let's just keep it very simple. Let's say that they bought it at, right now it's trading at 42. So let's say they bought it at 37. It's probably 35. So 81 million shares. Have you guys heard the concept? People that dump ATM or dump warrants and things like that on, often they're 10% of the volume. Because if you're more than that, you move the stock too much.
No, I don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, that is the case on average basis and a good rule of thumb. And if we wanted to be really nerdy about it, you can kind of go back and like take a look at how much. So the QBTS, the reason why I was short when they announced the ATM is because of that same reason. I did the math and I'm like, hey, this is going to take them about a week of volume. And alhamdulillah, to my guesstimate, that's exactly, it took them about like a week and a half. And then you could kind of just short it every day and do that. And I did the same thing with Tesla. And Tesla would have, on average, if it moves like $2, $3, it would have days that it had an $8 range, $6. And that happened for a week and a half, and the stock like dropped 30%. I was farming it every day. Really good money. Very lucrative money, and you can put on some good R. So what I did is, I did 3 billion divided by 37, which is just, I guesstimate, 81 million shares, and multiplied by 10. So 810 million shares. I haven't eaten food, so unless I'm going crazy. So that's how much volume they need. So let's say on average right now they're doing 25 million volume a day. It's 25 million, right? Yeah. So 32 days. It would take them 32 days if they're able to dump all of the shares and there's no restrictions. So that would take about a month if something like that happens. And yeah. And then this is also the reason why. Do you guys remember MBOT? 4 years ago, 6 years ago.
Which year?
What happened with MBOT?
It was called, people that follow dilution, we called it MBOT 2.0. So what MBOT did is, there's a baby shelf clause, which is, are you guys familiar with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for baby shelf clause, they did a small offering, and that small offering, it was very strategic so that it unlocks the baby shelf. But on that offering was so small that it caused a squeeze. I think they did like a 3 mil, 4 mil, but it had traded like 100 million shares. So if the offering amount in comparison to the volume is really low, then you don't want to have the odds of it continuing much lower is low. So if a stock traded like 150 million shares and the offering amount, you take a look and you're like, hey, the shares are only X amount. Often you don't want to use the average price. You want to use the price that they got the shares at. So you're like, they only got, I think they did an offering for like 600K shares or 800K or a million, 2 million. And then, but it was trading like 3 million shares a minute. So a lot of people that were short sellers didn't follow dilution, they got caught thinking it's supposed to go down, and then it squeezed quite a bit. And the next day, I think they did another full offering where it dropped down. Is that confusing? Any questions about that?
No?
No.
Okay.
What do you think about BMNR? Do you think it still has way to go down still?
That's a good question. Okay. Let's do that. So BMNR, let's just pull it up here.
Could end up like SBET.
Yeah.
Could be at $10 in 1 week. And any bounce, any bigger bounce, I would like to short on this.
So I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna probably use all this $2 billion to buy Ethereum, and they're gonna build up the balance sheet. So there's one is understanding dilution, other one is like knowing. So let's say this day. So for ATM, you have to look at the VWAP. So let's say if this day is 74. Like what's the? How do we? We have to guesstimate what the average selling price would be. So if it's 2 billion, this is 2 billion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say average selling price would be 50 for simplicity's sake. So that means then it's gonna add on roughly 40 millions of share. Now for 40 millions of share, if they are 1/10 of the volume, so you divide by 10, they need 400 million in volume. 22, 14, 9. Unless I'm doing my multiple. Come on, it's probably just a big ATM. I might have to be more precise. I might have to be like, okay, how much did they dump in here? Because this was a really big weight day. So this day was, let's use this day's average because this was potentially higher. So the view up here is 75. 2 billion divided by 75, 22. So they need 266 million volume. 22, 14, 22, 14, 9. Minus 22, 266 million shares they need, minus 22, minus 14, minus 9. So let's say the average volume is going to be about 15 million. 266 divided by 15. It's going to take about 17 days. 17
Oh wow.
trading days. So if this has a gap up, I definitely would be shorting it.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah. So gap up in here. This is really good. Future opportunity. If it gaps up, it should potentially fade. And the gap ups, you could always use these extension. If it gaps into 73.
Oh my
this
god,
should
73 would be ridiculous. Because the float is bigger now. I see it's 3.2 million now
Yeah.
on dilution tracker at least.
Why? Does it update the ATM?
No, but I know the float changed because when I was looking at it before, it said like 1.5 million. Now it says 3.2 million.
Mhm.
The day it ran, I remember like when it was running, like 2 weeks ago, looking at the float to now, it's doubled.
Yeah, it's probably gonna go quite a bit more with this ATM. Okay. Anything else in here that you guys or you gonna move forward and get started?
Yeah, how did you guys know that BMNR is gonna dilute immediately after the filing?
So the idea here that we thought about is human beings are creatures of habit. SBET, SBET and a bunch of other things, they had a similar play where they had a reputable person, the stock had jumped up massively, and they're gonna dump. And also because what they did a pipe, so sorry for me asking this, but if it's okay, if you don't know, you know what pipe is, right, Ben?
Yeah, private placement, right?
Okay, yeah, perfect. So they did a pipe. There's a guy, Tom Lee. He's famous. So he and a bunch of other people participated at $4 a share. And then from 4, your investment goes to 164. So it's massive. No matter who you are, a lot of people are greedy. You're like 30x your money.
Yeah.
So it's 3,600%. That's a lot. So they always kind of look for an exit. And also, so there's an aspect of understanding dilution, and there's an aspect higher than that, which is understanding the bigger picture, understanding who owns dilution, what are they doing, why are they doing this. So this company was basically trying to mimic what MSTR is doing, but for Ethereum. So it makes a lot of sense that they would dilute. MSTR, if we study MSTR, they have they basically dilute, they sell the common stock and they buy crypto with it. That's what these guys are
Yeah.
doing. So if your stock went up massively, it kind of makes logical sense to sell shares and to that. Or even if you're up like 3,600% on an investment in like 4 or 5 days, and it's like millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, I suppose you would want to find a way to exit. So we were anticipating that they were going to put S3ASR so that they're able to dump their pipe shares. We didn't really know it was going to be ATM. Like I had an idea, maybe it's a bit of hindsight, but I had an idea that they need to do for them to replicate MSTR, they would need to have some follow-up dilutions and sell common stock to buy that. It's so tough because I can't see your face. I don't know if it answers your question, or if
Yeah,
there's anything else.
one more follow-up.
Go for it.
At what time did they release the filing? Was it very close to the open?
I think they would know better than I would.
Yeah, it was
Arsenal?
at 9:30, 4 seconds
Okay.
after the open.
Okay.
It's a very unusual time for a filing. And this
Yeah.
might also be a reason why it took a few minutes until the stock really found some pressure.
Yeah, that's pretty difficult. They get the filing out at 9:30.
No,
At
it's
that
not
time
difficult.
you're very busy with other stuff, right?
No, but you anticipated that. We anticipated that something like this would happen. And if you play this enough, I wish I had like an AI that would be like, show me Tesla the day after Elon posted that he's going to sell his shares. And his shares was $10 billion, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 10 billion or 100 bill. Like that can be dumped off the morning. And you know what it did? It did exactly this. It pushes off the open a little bit and then it dumps consistently. And then when it dumps, like the average move is this, and then it washes. Do you guys, okay, F it. Do you guys remember what the date was when Elon publicly announced?
With Tesla, I don't know.
I would.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Do you want me to check? I'll ask Grok.
Yeah, sometimes I can't hear your voice
Oh,
cutting off.
is this better or the same?
Yeah, now it's good.
That's good. Okay, I pressed the button in my head. When did Elon announce that he will sell 10 billion shares?
Are you asking ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I use ChatGPT a lot for news also.
Bro, ChatGPT sucks. You gotta use Grok. Grok is.
Oh, I have to use Grok?
Well, you don't have to, sorry. I like Grok better because it doesn't. There's a concept called hallucination, which means like the AI, when it doesn't when it doesn't know information, it makes it up. The hallucination on Grok is much lower than ChatGPT. ChatGPT makes shit up when it's bored.
Okay. Which version of Grok do you use?
I have, because I have like a paid Twitter account,
Uh-huh.
it gives me a bit more. So I have that. I don't have the super one. I don't have the $300 one. I have the other one. Where I have a paid Twitter and then it gives me some extra. Like I can use more.
Okay.
So it says November 6th is when Elon made a poll. And then he sold his shares November to December, November 2021.
Question to Martin. Did you anticipate the filing or did you wait until it came out and then shorted it?
No, I was waiting for the filing, and we talked about it last Sunday
Yeah,
with Jason. I don't know. Have you been here? Did you?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
We talked about exactly this filing that that this kind of filing will come out in the coming days once the offering is was announced that it's closed. Actually, I didn't expect it that early, and actually it was not even the filing that we expected, but it was the same kind of filing but for a different thing. You know, we were talking about filing for the registration of the shares for the private placement. The investors who bought the private placement at $4.50, I think, $4.50, 55 million shares, I think. This is what we expect, and this will also still come out in the next 15 days or so, because they have a deadline of 20 days from the closing of the private placement. But after they reach the 700 million float value after the closing of this private placement. They came out with another S3 ASR filing, but with an ATM 2 billion, which is, yeah, almost even better, because if they come out with an ATM, it's very clear that they want to make use of these high prices that the stock was trading at. And yeah, it was just a question of waiting for the price to confirm, to get weak, and then you could pile in as much as you wanted. It's A++ trade.
Yeah. And I don't know, you guys saw Steven Ducks. I don't know if he knew or if he's just, I don't think it's strong dilution, but there are things like this where there's liquidity and stuff. You guys are still able to see the screen?
Yeah.
So look at these dates. As you can see here, on November 21st, Musk announced to Twitter that it's going to sell 10% shares. He voted and people said vote. On average, as I mentioned, this thing moves whatever this amount is on this date, massive amount. And then you could see, you might not be able to see, but it pushes a little and then washes. Pushes a little and then washes. Pushes a little and then washes. I remember being short here, and obviously you capture such a big move. So your RR is this. In Thinkorswim, I think I have to go to demand to find this, but look at this. This is like a $1, $2 risk, pushes off the open. So this is open price, and then it rejects. And this day, I think, I don't know if it was announced or something, it's connected. And same thing here, it goes and then a little bit. And then here. And even now, BMNR, let's see if this is, let's go 5 minute. So the high here is 51. No, what's the high? 59. 59. They make it tricky, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like if this gaps up for me, this would be a good short. Or what if the other things that it does is it clears out some certain levels and goes. So yeah, stuff like this, 10 billion shares, you could reverse engineer. It's crazy, 177 million shares. 10 billion shares, 10 billion worth. Is this 10 billion?
10 billion, yeah.
Yep.
Divided by, let's say, if it's 380. So you could see that it would, no, I think that was more than 10 billion.
Yeah.
It might have been 100 billion. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a billion, this is 10
That's
billion.
1 billion.
This is 10 billion now, okay. Let's say divided by 380. So 26, and then multiply, so it needs 266 million shares. So it's 26 million multiplied by 10. So then you could kind of take a look at it. It took a while. I don't know when it got announced. Maybe it was after. And it says it ended on December. The AI. December 10.1 million. Yeah, the AI says basically it took them November and December, so it took them 1 month. And on the higher end approximation was that it would take them. So if they were 10% of the volume, it would take them 266 billion, but sometimes they're 5%. So you know it would have never ended. I have to find the exact date that it got announced. I wouldn't be surprised if it's after this or if it was here. But yeah, I think we should get started before we get really late. What do you guys think? Want to start?
Yep.
Yeah.
Any follow-up to that, Ben? Any questions before? Okay,
No.
so we are July 13th. While I do this, by the way, feel free to think about like the best trades in the past, best opportunities in the past, and best opportunity moving forward. And also, I'll go over what Arsenal posted. July 13th. So let's do that first. There was no matching gap filters. Uh-oh, GG. Am I... Okay, because I'm crazy. Because I'm crazy. So Arsenal posted interesting pre-market stats for July. Pre-market, yeah.
You can disregard the max to 300. You can just leave the minimum 200. I don't think you need to.
Yeah. Pre-market high strategy. Can you do that? Can you remove it and post it? What the stats would be? And then remove the market cap there too, please. Arsenal.
Sorry, you guys cut off for a second. Can you hear me?
I hear you. No, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, did you say something?
Yeah, I said, can you please do that? Can you remove this and also remove the market cap? Just so we could see.
Yep. Sure.
Because I know there's pre-market strategies, but man, pre-market is very tough because sometimes it goes a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think there was like some 1000% gainers. And if you get stuck, it's tough to stop out.
Okay, I just did that. I'll do it in just July. 1 second. July 1st. It's looking pretty good so far.
Okay.
Okay, so July 1st. Oh, that's 2024. Okay, 2025. There we go. So 200%. That's it. Yeah, we got 80%.
Faded.
It's looking pretty good. Here, let me send it.
Maybe you could do a live session on this. Yo, let me finish this and then you go to that. You present the next one and we'll watch you, okay?
Okay, it's just the computer that I'm doing this on isn't the same one that I'm talking to you on because there's no camera on that computer.
Okay.
And it's just much faster. That's the only thing. I'm just...
I'll do it. But send this
I
picture.
just sent it now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sending it now.
Okay, guys. So we're going over past week's biggest faders and see how we could have captured it. ABVE. That's just a nice fader. Yeah, not much to it. I don't see. I should know about it, but I forgot. Dilution in it or no? Martin, do you know?
ABV.
Yeah, this
Which
fader.
one?
I know we shorted it, but this one, ABVE. I'm going back and seeing if we can replicate it without hindsight.
ABV, I don't think they had dilution.
No, ABV not. SAFX, they had, I think they had a lockup expiration. It was a nice fader.
So they're fading off of the open. Or CVM. This one's an offering. This one's tricky. This hurts shorts all the time. It's nasty. And likely, if me personally, if this gaps up and does stuff, I will just leave it alone, I think. I remember
me too.
this stock, I remember from like 4 or 5 years ago. There's a whole website called Kill Shorts, killshortscvm.com or something. But tricky stock. ARTL, below VWAP, faded. Do you guys notice anything? Please, if you notice anything abnormal, price action, not abnormal, something in common, just say it out loud, please. CLDI. This is probably an offering one too, right? Yeah, this is an offering one. Yeah, I remember. A bunch of the guys were trying to short here because AMX. Yeah.
This one was nice because they had a lot of failed breakouts in pre-market. Like the overall structure looked a bit weak because after every high it made a pullback in pre-market.
Nice. Yeah. Would you use as, I don't really pay attention to pre-market, but would you say because it did the failed breakout that sometimes it's a good chance it does a failed breakout at the open too?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
It was just one thing that I noticed.
Because this is a nice setup, failed breakout too. I could see longs being trapped in here,
Yeah.
thinking that it's gonna push.
The gap was also pretty high.
Yeah, 206. This I think I did tear into this, and I don't regret it. So when a gap is high and there's a long or bagged, I generally like to add when VWAP gets below VWAP, because when it fades, it can have a nice risk reward. The other thing I was thinking about loud, there's a lot of things I wish we could do as a team, and I'm very happy. We are progressing like 6 months, 8 months, 10, whatever ago. Like we're doing a lot more voice calls now. We're doing consistent Sunday recap. We always have, but more people are showing up and we made it better. One of the other things, if we were able to do, is if we can all type out and get everybody in pre-market to write down that this is our A++ setup. I've said this before, but when all of us are kind of on the same ticker, that ticker tends to have a really good fade. So in a perfect world, you can if we write our watch list and we say A++ is ticker 1, 2, that would really, really help us as a trader to put on a bit more risk on the A+ setup, given that price action confirms it's heavy. But yeah. What do you guys think? Is there a way that we could kind of incentivize everybody to do that, or is that just a bit too much work?
Yeah, we'd have to be more active in the pre-market chat, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just watched every gapper.
I mean, lately I've been really interested in this pre-market stuff because I think just naturally it's less people are awake for pre-market, so you just naturally you'll get a cleaner fade. It's not as crowded. I've been seeing it in the past couple weeks, so I think it'd be in our best interest. Like even BTCM went to like $11, which is crazy. If you look at the float for that stock, it's a very heavy stock. $11 for that stock is ridiculous. Yeah, wow, hit 11.
The only thing you have to be very cautious of is like this could easily capture you. This could like
Uh-huh.
even if you're like I'm gonna wait for first you always should wait until there's heaviness. And this is an
Uh-huh.
short signal. Like I'm willing to bet there's algos
Yeah.
by the way. I know a lot of people in the past year or two that are getting really strongly into algos and quants, including us
Yeah.
that I'm trying to work on for us as a team. But this is all shorts getting squeezed because that's a really good entry setup, failed breakout and things like that. But then
Yeah.
sometimes the problem is, can you stop out pre-market? Because if you're risking, let's say entries, you're risking like 20 cents as 1 hour. Now you are down like so much. So the way the guys that have the algos, they risk like 100% off of the account. And as I said before, I have, if you were to put a minimum at a 800 or 1,000, you'll see the past 2-3 months, this few of the stocks went to 1,000% because it was them, they
Yeah.
were blowing their accounts up.
The sub pennies one, I think. Yeah, BON was another crazy one. That was like 40 cents. It went to $10. So that's
Pre-market?
even more than 1,000. That's like 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had like just one of those crazy candles, and then after that, it was just completely just all the way down.
Yeah. So look at this, it's fucking crazy. From $2, 500% or something. Okay, anyway, let's get back to finding trends and patterns in here. So this is the first time I'm seeing a failed breakout at 10:30 fade. MBIO. Okay. Looking at the long setups. That's just crazy. I don't know. Do you guys have a way of entering? I don't think you can, unless you guys have a way of entering the long. Anybody?
No, this one is tricky, huh?
Yeah.
I think this would have been a good long. I tried to long it. I think I had an order at like in here. So if you feel like something is a short squeeze, the first dip, everybody's like, oh, thank God. I appreciate you. I'm going to cover. So the first dip on a squeeze could be something, but it's tricky for the rest, yeah. But that's chasing too. I don't know. Hypothetically, if it got here, I could have risked versus this. But didn't fill. If you see any long setups or the way to avoid squeeze, let me know. This is our long setup. Oh yeah. Oh, this. Ben, this is what we talk about all the time.
Yeah, I see it.
This is the day. This is the dream, especially because it's 15-cent halt, Ben. Ben is very good at, and I appreciate Ben very much. He gives me heads up when trades like this, in theory, happen, and we try to catch it. It stays below VWAP for a bit, and then it reclaims. And if it's a 15-cent halt, Ben, oh my God, that would be. This is the setup where you make like 50R. So you're risking 10, 15 cents, and you make $3-4 if you can hold. And the way to hold these, as obviously I personally have mentioned a few times, is always risk the low, the previous low. So if you entered here, risking this low or this. You entered here, you gotta risk here. You entered here, gotta risk here. Yeah. If anything else, let me know. guess the first dip would have been this, and it would have been wrong. We would have been wrong on it. And then you can see the stop hold. That's wow, that's tricky as hell.
Yeah, I traded this one.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do? Oh, I did trade it. I traded
in
it
the
too.
morning.
Yeah. I traded this as well, actually. I got lucky. I shorted here. I think I got stopped out. And then I shorted here. And then I added in here, and I covered in here. Then I re-shorted this clear out. How did you trade it, Ben? And
Shorted the morning spike,
this?
9:30. Yeah.
Yeah. You stopped.
I also got out break even when it got above VWAP again.
Say that again. Oh, you got
I
break
also
in.
got out. Exactly.
Okay. When did you get back in? here?
Below.
And here?
Lower.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you stopped out around the same area.
Yeah.
Good for you. I was strongly convinced that this was going to continue to wash.
Me too.
Yeah. But I don't regret it because, if it works, it has a positive EV. Okay. Anything else in here that you guys, any pattern, anything that you see? That you want to talk about?
Martin, did you catch the offering in CLDI?
Me or
I
Martin?
did not. I lost on it.
In CVM, you mean?
CLDI.
CLDI? I think not, no.
We shorted it in voice chat, no?
CLDI?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a bunch of you guys were short.
Yeah.
Or maybe... Yeah, well, I think not in the proper account, maybe in the private account, possible. I don't remember exactly anymore. When was it? Wednesday? Or maybe I did. Yeah, no, I did. I also had a position in the proper account. Yeah, now I remember. Yeah.
Was it possible to catch the offering, like when it exactly the second when it came out? Like how many seconds did you have to short it?
I don't remember exactly on this one. You would need to go to the 1 second chart on TradingView. Generally it's very difficult. If then you need to be at least you need to do it in the first 5 seconds or so. Usually after 5 seconds the stock is at the limit down price, and then it gets difficult to get filled. Yeah, it's difficult. I sometimes manage to do it, but you really need to kind of have a mix of luck and be prepared. You need to have the montage chosen. You need to have the shares located, and you need to be really ready when the offering, when the filing drops.
There's a new button that you can auto-locate now, right? You guys were talking about?
Yes, but this also takes, 2 seconds at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have that much time. You need to have the shares pre-located if you want to really... if you want to hit it after the filing or the PR comes out, you need to have everything ready in place. Or I think the best approach is still to just anticipate it. Sometimes when a stock runs intraday and you do some basic research pre-market, and also with Jason is doing some very good job of posting about the fundamental situation of most of the runners in pre-market in the Ask Edgar Discord. And sometimes it's you have a relatively good likelihood of, let's say, at least more than 50%. And this is already a big probability. If you know that the ticker might do an intraday offering, might likely do an intraday offering, then you just, you get ready and prepare. And you look at enough shares and you sit in front of the screen all day until 4 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes even longer. Offerings usually they happen in the afternoon, most of them. Rarely they happen in after hours. Sometimes they happen overnight after hours close at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Another common
And
thing you
sometimes
could
the
do,
next day in pre-market.
I was going to say, for midday, very often it's HC Wainwright. So if you're just waiting for the offering, if you're trying to get a midday one, make sure in the past that they used HC Wainwright. That, if you ever wanted to go that route.
Well, if I only have like 3 or 4 seconds, and I'm not going that route too fast.
Yeah, it's very competitive for the fills, for the liquidity that is there the first few seconds. You need to be very focused all day and need to really constantly, look on your news provider and on the action, which is also mentally draining, honestly.
Yeah.
So the best thing is to focus on the price action, honestly, and usually most of the times you get already a decent fade from the highs before the offering drops. Not always. We had 1 or 2 offerings lately, CYN and APVO, I think, who did a big squeeze and then offered near the highs. That was rather unusual, but it's an even better gift if you can get in before the stock holds down. Because usually when the stock holds down, it will open 50% lower, like in the case of CYN or APVO. Or even better, if you get in the few minutes before the offering drops, usually you have a few minutes of weakness before that at least. Even with CYN and APVO, you had that. But most of the times you have the stock already was fading quite a bit, like 30-40% of the high before the offering drops. This is the majority of offerings intraday. So if you focus just on the price action on a ticker that has a decent chance of an offering, that's also, maybe even better than to watch for the offering itself. If the stock is already weak 2 hours before that, probably there was somewhere a spot where you could enter short already, kind of a setup where you could risk against the high, and just hold it until close, and maybe if you're lucky you get the offering. If not, price action is still weak usually.
Okay, let's, one other thing, and let's move forward. If possible, Martin, I don't know if you can. I think for the team, it would be really cool if we're able to stream News Edge on voice. Do you think that's possible?
I don't know if it's technically possible and how to do that. And
I think I can find the technicals if you want to, if you're
the
comfortable
other
with
thing
it.
is, um,
Because we've done it in the past. In the
me-
past, what
the
we
other
used to
thing is
do.
also, I mean, I have it spread over. I have my news edge. I have different several windows, and I have it spread over 3 monitors. So I have 4 4K monitors, and
No, just
so
for
it's spread
voice.
out. And
So I'll give you a quick perspective of what we used to do. We used to short Ross Warrior Traders thing. Whenever he would exit, me and a bunch of the short sellers, we would short. Because I hate to say it, I might get a lot of hate for it. But it used to be a thing because it's retail trader and blah, blah, blah. But long story short, if you wanted to, you could just stream the audio. So whenever an offering happens, I'm sure you have voice alerts, right, on that, on News Edge? And then you could get an account.
no voice. I have just a loud beep, loud one-time beep. I don't have a tick.
You should have that on, bro. That's a very big edge about
I
trade
need to look it up how to set it up. I don't know.
bro, that's
I didn't even know
super.
that this exists.
Bro, this is I am so surprised because it reads out the offering price. It reads out the title. So
Are you sure?
yeah, bro, I used
I
Trade Edge
didn't
like
find-
way before it became popular. Like way before. Like freaking 8 years ago
Okay.
plus. It reads the title, so
Honestly.
even if you're not watching your screen, your ears are using the offering price and the warrant or the shares, whatever. It's super cool. It's a very neat edge. Very neat edge.
Okay, I'll take a
But-
look
but-
at it.
One more thing. I don't think Martin has to share it because we don't really trade these offerings. We are not that fast.
I think we can be, honestly. Like on CLDI and things, if you guys collectively, like CLDI, I shorted. You could kind of reverse engineer. Martin's very smart, and I think other people could be on voice. What that does is it increases our group collaboration. If we have some form of a news that's putting out voice alerts out there, it will give more reasons for
As
people to
Edgar
be on
has a
voice.
channel for offering.
But that's text, right?
Yeah,
Text
but
is
you
very
also get
slow.
an alert for the text.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember Scan's newsfeed was really good. I used to use it. You would get like a big, like a beep, or it would say offering on whatever symbol. And there's another one called Tuit Bot or N2 Bot. It's like $10 a month or something. Let me find it. 1 second.
Yeah. I mean, if it increases group collaboration, I'm happy to get something like that. But Discord is very slow. On voice, just like we did so much Sunday recap, and I'm sure some of you guys felt like, hey, what a freaking waste of time. But that one trade, if you were to able to capture BMNR, I don't like Martin said, it made me very happy that one, like he caught it because we talked about it. So it just makes that one offering, you catch it, it makes sense. Ben, you were fast enough to enter. Don't undersell yourself. Sometimes it takes like 2 minutes, 3 minutes before it reacts. Sometimes it's instant, but even if it's 5 seconds, you could be fast enough to hit some. And how aggressive you are, Ben, I think you would do really well. You would capture some 10 to 20 hour trades for sure. Okay, let's move.
It's still, especially for the intraday offerings that come out with a PR and not the filing, because these are different things. The BMNR, ATM, they didn't PR it. It came out with a filing, and this is why it took a while. And also the timing of the filing was very unusual. This is why it took a few minutes until the people noticed. But these classical intraday offerings like CVDI, what we just talked about, and what we had 1 or 2 more.
CDLI.
CVM on Friday. I wasn't trading on Friday. I was sick, but CVM, I think, did an intraday one
Yeah,
on Friday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, let me quickly pull up because curious now how much time you had on CVM. How many seconds?
But regardless, even after at the open, you could have participated at the auction and filled here if you had done the math.
CVM was holding. Before this is another unusual, very annoying trick. CVM was holding the stock, then the news came out, and then they were unholding it 1 hour later. That's happened sometimes. Remember a few weeks ago it also happened in one ticker. It's a bit annoying because you cannot chase it then. You can only hope that you are already in. And CVM did something very annoying, it squeezed back to the highs intraday after it showed weakness of the open. I think they squeezed out a lot of shorts, and then a few minutes, like 20, 30 minutes later, they halted the stock. Yeah, tricky business sometimes. But what I wanted to say is, especially intraday, when the offering comes out with a PR, the time you have to react to that before the stock holds down is usually, I don't know, on average, I would say 5 to 10 seconds before the limit down hits. Once limit down hits, you don't get any fill anymore. So you need to be, you can only be very fast, or
You can
or
still participate in
sometimes-
the auction though. When the auction happens, there's still more
Yes.
down.
Yes, if the gap down is not too big, it depends where the stock reopens. You need to kind of decide the discretionary where the stock reopens, and you can see that often, especially with Nasdaq tickers. You can see the indications versus where the offering price was and how many shares they offered. If it was a light offering or if it was a heavy offering, versus the float and the traded volume. These are some variables that you can account into your calculation, and then you can decide if you want to participate when it unholds. You can send an order to participate in the opening auction. At least with Nasdaq stocks, I don't know, with Amex and NYSE, the route is a little bit.
It should fill. And if there's liquidity there, sometimes if there's no liquidity on AMX, it won't fill. But your order goes through if you put MY AMX. But I know the guys didn't get filled. But bro, for the sake of time, let's move forward if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
Please. Okay, so this is very interesting. I didn't see this. What I did in here in the settings is I go here, put 40% range, and I'm trying to see. This is a concept called who moved my cheese, or where did my cheese go, where did the money go. So these are some crazy ass, excuse my language, but crazy ranges. Very interesting. So this fade is around 1 o'clock, which is what I like. Because it makes it cleaner.
2 months ago, right?
Oh crap, is it 2 months ago? Did I mess up? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's me.
My apologies. It's
You
gonna be
shorted
like,
this one.
I did?
Yeah.
Why did I short this one?
Great breakout at high.
Oh yeah. Good for you that you remembered. Jeez. Okay, so this is correct, right? This one I got July 7th. We are 13th, July 6th. Okay. So that's recaptured. Same stuff, same stuff. BMNR. Yep. Oh, so this stuff is more lucrative than BMNR if we had size up. That's interesting. We're so lucky that we get BMNR. Well, there's low liquidity. Push off the open. I don't see anything. CVM, we went over. BSGM. Anybody, low volume, anybody take this?
Not
Yes.
out.
Okay, this is low volume as well. 6 to 12, 100% of the volume. ARTL. This one is a good one. Faded 35, 40%. Chinese names. So JJ mentioned this last weekend. If it's a gap and it's Chinese, it tends to fade. If it's a midday runner, it tends to be difficult, he says. RGC. Low 9% gapper, likely not on our radar. PROK. These are Ben, these are my new favorite setups, by the way. I've been thinking a lot about, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure we all do. How do we improve our performance? How do we find an A+ setup and hit it hard? I always talk about anticipate range. If long is involved and it pushes off the open, I would be shorting here and then I would be shorting here. If something like this you see, Ben, please let me know, tag me. Likely I'll capture it myself, but this to me is an A+ setup, and in here I need to have a tier 2. The same reason that we shorted the last one, thinking that it would go down.
Mhm.
You guys notice anything weird or abnormal?
Not really.
Yeah, nothing for me.
Okay, let's see, how do we long and make money? ABVE, that's crazy.
I tried
Yeah,
to
that's
long this.
long. That's a long consolidation. I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. I got stopped out on it a few times before it ran.
Yeah.
Can we long this, or is this unrealistic?
It stayed above WeWap late into the day, high volume. I would say it's a good long.
Yeah, but we have to long after hours. Tough.
Was the offering risk?
Not really.
No. Then we can long it, right? And after hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have worked with a 135 stop.
Yeah. Because they had no shelf, no nothing. So yeah. The only thing I could have done is pipe. Interesting, okay. This one we could have longed. This one, I don't know. You guys have a way of longing this?
No.
This is crazy. 100% gapper and it pushes. PROK is 109.
This one
INTK.
pushed because the baby shelf was $60, right?
64, right? I believe they had to close
64.
at 64 and it closed exactly there.
Yeah.
That was a good signal after hours to get short, but I think they're gonna give one more push before it really dives.
Yeah, I want to watch this one on Monday.
Yeah, so, okay, in terms of plays, future plays, by the way, after this session, I know we're taking a bit longer. We all have to think about the best opportunities in the past that we missed or that was there, and most importantly, the best future opportunity. So I didn't even know until you guys brought it up. It clicked in my head. This we should locate in the morning because it has 3 months of cash left. And I knew about the baby shelf close concept, but I think, yeah, it's gonna trap and potentially go, or even pre-market, it could do an offering. So I think it would make sense to short this and have some wide stop risk. What do you think, Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
Monday. I mean, I wasn't there on Friday, but I read that I saw the stock yesterday when I reviewed the week, and I heard that the float was very small, 1 million or so, but they exactly closed a few cents above the baby shelf. I think at 64.17, right?
Yeah.
So they're out of baby shelf rule now, and they can. I think they have a 50 million S3
Yep.
shelf,
Yep.
and they will, 95% use it. Maybe already on Monday, maybe on Tuesday. So yeah, this is a very good offering candidate, but they also, we still need price action to confirm maybe to do another clear out from Friday's high first tomorrow.
I think I would have locates ready pre-market at the open.
Yeah,
If you guys are
certainly.
up. Yeah.
Locate's ready, but we need, I mean, then just watch the pre-market price action, and
Yeah.
if it gaps down, if it stays weak, then it's possible that the offering could already come in pre-market.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Hopefully Ben puts on it one to our risk. And we get a Martin. You get one too. You're badass in offerings too. So this is really valuable. Cool. Very neat. This is a long too.
8% gap, by the way.
But pre-market
I
volume.
don't think.
This was
I
a
don't think
crazy
we have
intraday
this-
run.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I guess it wouldn't be on the radar. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the concept is there. Well, actually, no volume. I don't know. CLTI above VWAP. I don't know. Tough. I would have, if I was actively watching it, I think I would have been shorted here. Here, and gotten stopped out. So this is interesting. So this it did one fake clear out, two fake clear outs, 3, 4. Wow.
Pretty
4
crazy,
fake.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very often, the third one is a charm, but this did 4. So I guess if you count this as 1, I guess you might not want to count this because it didn't close below this.
RuneScape has all. Oh,
What? RuneScape what?
RuneScape.
Ah,
That's your game, man.
That is my game.
That's the funniest thing.
Who said that? Is that?
I think it came off on my YouTube. I was going through a video,
Oh.
and then that just came on.
Mm.
It's about AI bots in RuneScape.
Oh yeah. Good old days. Let's see. Bam. Okay. I don't see anything else. I think it's just all. There's nothing else. So let's do the second segment where if you have the best up. Oh no, pre-market stuff. Arsenal sent me this, and I put it in a different screen. Arsenal, do you have something to say? You were saying 76% of the times it fades, or 80%.
Well, that's talking about the closing price. That's not talking about market open. It's saying it closes red. So it might even be better stats than that,
Okay, let's look
which I
through.
thought was interesting.
Let's look through. So we could go range.
Yeah, I just put pre-market high 200%. So anything that gaps up 200% in pre-market,
Mm.
if you short it and cover even at the beginning of market open, I think it's looking pretty good.
You mean when it reaches 200% run in pre-market, you can short there?
No,
Or at
he put
least
minimum.
like kind of have that as minimum criteria as
So he-
200%.
These are the variables he put. He put 200%. And if I put this further out, I think the stats become, it's like 80%. So minimum 200, pre-market high, minimum gap of 200% or higher. So essentially when people get stopped out in pre-market.
Yeah, the early ones I find people don't like, they kind of fall off, if you know what I mean. Like people start focusing on, as like time goes on, new press releases come out and new stocks start popping up, and then attention completely fades away from these ones. Like,
Yeah. True.
Here's the stats. Check this out. If you have this tool, honestly, you guys should focus on. I don't use. I used to use it, but let me see. So minimum, let's say 35. And then let's just put 45. Oh, 68, I thought it'd be better. I'm probably doing it wrong. Okay, secret sauce unlocked. I'm just kidding. This used to be one of my playbooks. You can see 91% fader.
can I see that criteria again? Sorry.
I would have to murder you, brother.
200%. Okay, so it fades 35%
Yeah,
from the pre-market high.
Yeah.
Okay. So less than 35. Okay. Less than 35.
But isn't that a hindsight thing if you use that max criteria?
no, because it takes the off of the open. Why would it be hindsight? You might be right, but tell me.
Wait, I'm not sure, but the high fade is difference between the close price and the high price.
Oh, you're right.
This means it faded 35% from the high, or from the pre-market high.
From the
then
pre-market
it's-
high or from the
then it's
opening?
hindsight.
That's the confusing part. Yeah.
So
And
they-
also,
What?
that means you have to wait. I mean, if you set this up for a scanner or for backtesting, you would need basically to wait every time the stock fades 35%. I mean, how do you know that? You don't know that in advance if the stock fades 35% from the high.
Oh, I see what you mean.
No, I think I'm using a different variable. So but just so you guys know, we're adding a lot of variables. So I think I have to double check this, but there is one
Yeah,
that
use
uses the
pre-market
open
high.
price and pre-market high. So let me see if it's this one. This value is difference between the highest price and the pre-market. The percentage is a percentage of the pre-market high. Close to pre-market, this value is the difference between the close price and the pre-market highest price, represents the percentage of the pre-market highest price. I think it might be this one. No. The difference between the close price and the high price, represented as a percentage of the high price, this must be negative value. If this is off of the open price, it got changed recently, but if it's off of the open price, this is a strategy basically. But you're right in here. So it should be like this from here to here. It faded 35%. Yeah, so it wouldn't have.
Try pre-market high fade. It says pre-market high fade percentage between the open price and the pre-market highest price. Would that work?
Yeah, this is the one. The difference between the open. Yes, there you go. So that's different. Yes, thank you. Nice catch. Nice catch. So this should be 35. Thank you, Martin. Got us all. Got me all excited. I was like, this looks really good. So that's 71%.
Didn't you put 35 on the other column? You put it on the max last time. Now you put it on
Yeah.
the min.
It should have been the minimum,
Different.
but then it
Oh, it
didn't
should've
give me
been,
the
okay.
right results. Yeah, so because I know we're changing a lot of variables and adding new things, so I think those are stuff that was recently added, and we're adding more. So I was like, hey, this doesn't look right. I put it to the high. So let me put 45. We're getting sidetracked.
It's just hard to track when something's 35% down from the high. Like, I guess you can manually do it near the market open and kind of see where you are.
Bro, why? Do
But-
this. Have a scanner. So you guys have access to this? This is coming very soon. So you see,
Oh, okay.
confirmation of entry alert, filter alert.
Oh,
and stuff
that's
like that.
nice.
Yeah. But even before this, this will automatically tell you if your variables are matched off the open. So in my biased opinion, I think you guys should start using this. Because even, this is gonna come in out in a month, but even if this doesn't, like, whatever settings are there will show up. Okay, let's, trying my best not to be distracted a lot. So you were saying that we should, this, what are you showing? That it fades off pre-market high, right? July.
But- Aslan, what's your entry signal on this for this strat?
I'm always looking for some sort of weakness because I don't want to hit into strength.
Yeah,
But I'm usually covering like relatively quick, but I'm trying to hold like LMFA was kind of tricky on Friday, right? Like you see how it kind of went up, down, up, down, up, down. So I probably would have been stopped out if I was holding the
Yeah.
entire time. So yeah, it's tough. I think trend break is good and below VWAP is good for kind of holding. Once you kind of get the trend break below VWAP, you can kind of hold and you can even risk high of the day if you're feeling up to it. I usually don't. I usually risk like the previous low or high above VWAP usually. But like they've been good, like LMFA, FTFT, and a bunch of other ones that I was looking at.
indeed, yeah. I mean, I'm always here in pre-market and I'm watching these stocks, but that's a good observation. I was not really that much aware of yet. If a stock runs like several 100% in early pre-market, especially I think the ones who are running before 6 a.m., between 4 and 6, it seems they really often fade from there
Yeah,
back down into the open.
that's what I was looking at, Martin, too. I was trying to figure out the time. It looks like 6. I would think it's 7 because at 7, a bunch of retail broker kicks in. 6, 7
Yeah.
o'clock, around that time, if it does, then it'll give you a nice fade. And I guess the other one's at 9 o'clock. This is the one that Adnan mentions, that it pushes off at 9, and then it has a really nice fade. Thank you. Good observation. Okay, let's go through one by one. You can mention best opportunity for the past week, and ideally 1 or 2 opportunities coming into the future week, and then the market cycle. We can start with Brother Arsenal.
Okay. For the best opportunity, didn't participate in it, but I think it was BMNR off that press release. Uh, one of the reasons why I think I didn't get in on it was just based on the news being released right at like the market bell, and just wasn't able to have the right tools and be ready for it. So I'm gonna try and make sure that doesn't happen again. Uh, in terms of the best opportunity I missed, well, no, that would be it. Sorry, what was the rest of it?
The future opportunity next week that you're looking forward to, and what do you think is the current market sentiment that we're at?
Okay, yeah. So INKT, I'm looking for dilution on the name, like some sort of filing to come out, and I want to get short on weakness because I think we're gonna come down from since we had the baby shelf close. And other than INKT, I'm gonna look for BMNR for pops towards like 60s to 70s, and then get short on weakness because based on the thesis that Afghan was talking about earlier today, I think it has more room to go down. So I'm gonna be focusing on those coming Monday.
Where do
And
you
the
think
market
we are?
cycle?
Yeah, market cycle.
I was just looking at gappers. We're getting pretty good fades. It doesn't seem like it though, right? But I think we're getting good fades. I see 70% on flash for gappers, just 50%. So I mean, it's been the same thing. Like for me personally, I keep fighting stocks, and if you don't do that, you're pretty much gonna make money. The only days I haven't done well is just on days where I've been fighting stocks. So everything seems like it's the same. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem like it because the ones that don't work are just so gnarly and they just go so far. That's just my take. I think it's good for gappers still.
Awesome. Thank you. Brother Ben, uh, past opportunities, future opportunity, and market sentiment.
Yeah, so the opportunity I missed was BMNR. The next opportunity I'm looking at is INKT in pre-market. Market cycle is quite strong. I give it a 7 out of 10. There were many strong tickers like INKT, PROK, ABVE, and yeah.
Cool. Very good. I like the preciseness. Brother Martin.
Yeah, copy what Ben said and also Arsalan. BMNR was the biggest opportunity this week. For next week, this INKT tomorrow, and there are one or two tickers like ABVE and PROK that were still holding up quite well this week, and they have a lot of room to fade back down. So I'm keeping them on watch also for next week. They will probably also fade, just a matter of time. And generally, the market was small cap market, micro caps were, I would say, very strong. I was not here on Friday, but Wednesday and Thursday, I remember we had a lot of runners already in pre-market, and then we had so many tickers. It was really unusually strong for me. So I would say we're in a very strong cycle, at least if it comes to amount of opportunities, amount of runners and liquidity. We still also had, we had many faders as well. A few tickers were, a few tickers surprised the shorts. They were strong. Some all day like ABV or PROK on the first day. So we need to be careful for these tickers that trade extremely high volume early on, or whenever they start running, sometimes in pre-market, sometimes intraday. I think ABV started intraday, but they traded half the float in 1 minute, first few minutes. So these are kind of warning signs for me to be careful with the short. And if you short, then better have a stop in mind, know exactly where to stop out. Yeah. So we had a lot of opportunities this week.
Mm.
I hope it will continue like this because the opportunities are, yeah.
What's your market
Exactly what
sentiment
we
is bullish or neutral, bearish?
You mean if it comes to all-day faders or if it comes to amount of opportunities?
All day fader type deal. You think is it bullish, bearish?
Um, it's strong, I would say. I mean, I don't know how to really find that. I mean, like I said, we had a lot of nice faders, but we also had a lot of very dangerous tickers for shorts that were trending strong all day. So it's kind of mixed, but yeah,
Okay.
if you know how to avoid the strong tickers, if you don't fight them all day, you should be fine. You know, focusing on the weaker ones. Yeah,
Awesome. I
I
appreciate it.
don't know how to call it. How to call it? If I should call it strong market sentiment or mixed, or
Well, a
sometimes
simple,
they have a difficult time to define
and that's
what
okay.
exactly. Yeah.
So that when it comes to extreme edges, that's why we do these things. A lot of times it doesn't have to make sense. So when we have a blow up day where there's like few stocks that have went up 1,000% in midday or something like that, then we know the next few days it's gonna be fading. I think that's a bit obvious, right? Or when we have a lot of things that just fade off right the open. But sometimes it's normal not to know is it strong, bearish, or hard to define it. It's in the murky water. That's how normal trading is. Anything else that you would want to add, Martin?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Really good from my perspective. I think you guys brought up a good point that about the market cycle. It is strong. So the same thing at the start. BMNT was the fader. INK. Actually, there were those were INKT is the future that I'm kind of looking for. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm not good at two offering, but I will maybe get some locates and see if I can, or put it off. I feel more comfortable off the open than pre-market. Then I saw the market sentiment, what you guys were saying, and I was like, what if it pushes off into the open? I hope what happened, if something like this happens, I would love, like, where it pushes off into the 10 a.m. and then it fades. Those are my favorite setups because you can get like 10 to 1 risk reward if you're super patient. But even if you're not patient, you have an opportunity to add tier 2, which kind of makes it equal to 10 to 1. So I think there could be bullish, a rip, or it could be something like that. So there is a chance I might be looking for a long off the open if something like this happens, consolidates. Martin mentioned something really good. If a stock is trading its float in like a 1 minute candle or a 2 minute candle, I wouldn't mind going long, to be honest, and holding into the close. And that's about it. My summary of today's takeaway, Martin, maybe I'll message you in private inbox and see if we can try to get a voice alert system. I think that would be really good for the team. So that way, even if people are not talking, they can just be on voice. And it just builds up camaraderie and friendship. And if possible. And the other thing, my takeaway from today kind of was somehow not convincing us and seeing, like I see it from the back end that I could clearly see like if there's 6, 7 traders and everybody's trading that one ticker, then that ticker tends to have a high fade, which is like, which would be really cool. If I could, I don't think this is possible. I would love to just put everybody's ticker on and everybody could see it, but you can't. But that's another neat little edge that will improve everybody's performance if all of us. I guess the first step would be we post our pre-market watch list. Number 2 is if we can identify which one would you think has a higher probability of fading. And then for that one, you could just put a bit more size on it or put a bit more risk on it. And that's all. That's all from me. Any last comments and thoughts?
The pre-market, you mean to post when there is an A++ setup, right?
Yeah, so when people post their list, to just write down that out of all of this is my A+, this is my main watch, and the other is my secondary watch type of deal.
Yeah. There is not always an A+ setup before they open, in pre-market. Sometimes we just have 3 or 4 tickers that we are watching, and if they set up well, they could potentially become a good setup, maybe an A setup. So it's sometimes, I would say, and Jason is doing this already pretty regularly. He's posting for him the quality of the setups.
Yeah.
And most of the times I see him also, calling the setups B.
No, but not to
because
that
it's
extent,
not-
because that's a lot of work. It's just like if you had a watch list, stock A, B, C, D, maybe separated. Because sometimes we don't know, but sometimes you have an idea going into pre-market that this is your main watch. Like going into Monday, if you have 5 tickers and like there was no offering or something, you could be like INTK potentially could be one. Like that's one that could be your main watch. So when we make that type of habit, that it may help.
This
Anything
is
we can
certainly
do.
easier to call it the main watch. Maybe having 1 or 2 main watches, because this is what
Yes.
probably all of us have
Yes.
every day at the
Yes.
open. But it doesn't necessarily always mean that it is an A+ setup, especially not off the open. It can develop into one, but it doesn't
Yeah,
mean.
and that's okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need to have a main watch and a secondary watch, because I think all of us have that. All of us have
Yeah.
that. Like, these are 2 are my main watches, and these other are side ones. I appreciate you guys. If nothing else, you guys have a wonderful, beautiful day. Thank you for coming on a Sunday. Take care,
Yeah,
amigos.
thank you guys.
If you guys made it this far, that means you liked it, you enjoyed it. I hope this was useful, beneficial. Feel free to write in the comments what you want. And also, if you are a trader that has made 7 figures in one point in your career, 7 figures profit, and you want to see if we're a good fit, shoot me a DM and Do Good Capital Twitter handle. If somebody approaches you, just don't get scammed. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. I hope this is useful. Share it with somebody you think that would benefit from it. And thank you very much.